Elsewhere around the world, the British Prime Minister has signed a letter to the EU formally notifying the bloc that the UK is leaving. Negotiators will have 2 years to reach a deal, though both sides have already staked out some contentious demands. Jung-hee has shed light on what lies ahead.
The document that'll formally begin the UK's departure from the European Union was signed on Tuesday. British Prime Minister Theresa May signed a letter to European Council President Donald Tusk on Tuesday, invoking Article 50, which will take Britain out of the EU. This comes 9 months after Britons voted in a national referendum last June in which Leave won by almost 52% to stay at 48%. Once the European Council President receives the letter, the EU and the UK have 2 years to negotiate a deal on Brexit, or WTO rules take effect by default. Negotiations are expected to begin in either May or June this year. Both sides have a lot to discuss, with trade at the top of the agenda. The UK wants to withdraw from the Union's single market, but hopes to keep some trade benefits through a new customs arrangement and an FTA. But the EU has been firm that the UK won't be able to, quote, cherry-pick elements of the single market. To get a better deal on trade, the EU wants concessions on the free movement of people, which was a central reason the UK chose to leave the bloc in the first place.
So many British people voted to leave the EU because they don't like the concept of people being able to move very freely without, passport checks and so on. So that is going to be a big issue of negotiation. Now, the problem is for the EU are saying if you want a free trade agreement with us, you will have to accept free movement of people.
The UK is also refusing to pay 60 billion euros, or roughly $65 billion as a so-called divorce bill, which, according to the EU, would take care of the UK's commitments to pensions for its workers and UK-based projects that have already received funding approval. Other EU member states are already notifying Brussels that they won't pay extra to make up for the UK's departure. Other agendas include cross-border security arrangements, jurisdiction mechanisms for issues like trade disputes, and the rights of British expats in Europe and EU citizens living in Britain. The current deadline for the talks is October next year. Any deal will have to be approved by at least 20 of the remaining 27 countries, which represent 65% of the EU's population. Unless they agree to extend the negotiation deadline, the UK will leave the bloc on March 29, 2019. Jung-hee, Arirang News.